Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the first time since December of 2022. The show we've all come to know and love. I actually don't know if you know and love us, but hopefully you do. And hopefully you've wondered where we've been, because we're back in the saddle, in the chair, in the car. I don't know what other metaphors to use.
Those work.
We're back in the cage. I don't know.
Cage?
Lock the doors. No one gets out until one falls. I don't know. It's a WWE street fight here on Nerds by Screenlight, the podcast that is now on episode 27. Feels like I didn't sign up for this.
No, it's good.
Maybe we should
I'm good. I'm
The
here.
door's locked. You can't escape. You're here forever. Okay, so my name's Aaron.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Zoe.
And they are new to this. They are not new to the podcasting process. They've been a part of the County Gamers for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And today we decided that out of a conversation that started on the County Gamers, the previous episode that you probably listened to, we started talking about a movie and was like, we can talk about more than that. And so first on the list is a question. What is a movie that is one of your favorites that you feel or know that you would be judged for? Did you get yours, Phil?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Just married.
Okay.
See, already with
I
the
don't-
Man, now
judgment.
I'm thinking of new movies.
I don't even know when did Just Married come out?
Are you kidding me? Ashton Kutcher?
Okay.
Brittany Murphy.
Okay, all right. Hold on.
word.
No, I was not. Okay, I do. Okay, I'm looking at the movie poster, and yes, I'm remembering the movie, and is it Ashton Kutcher? Good Lord. Okay, a young newlywed couple, honeymoons in Europe where obstacles challenge to sustain a marriage. Okay. Oh, directed by Sean Levy. So Sean Levy, for just a moment, before we talk about that, Sean Levy has done, his movie history is fantastic. He did Free Guy. He did, where's his, hold on, I gotta find director. Stand by. No, I want director. Oh my gosh. You know, IMDb, you make my life so hard and so challenging. Okay, director. I want to see director, please. So he directed Stranger Things. He did 2 episodes of that.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even know that.
He did Free Guy. He did the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, an episode of that. He did Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb.
Nice.
This Is Where I Leave You, The Internship. I thought he did Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian. He did Pink Panther with the new one with Sean. Okay, Just Married. I thought he did Big Fat Liar. Big Fat Liar is one of the greatest movies of all time. In case you have never seen it, it is amazing. I'm trying to think if he did, because I'm thinking he did. Did he not do Ace Ventura? Is that not Sean Levy? I guess I'm
not
wrong.
sure.
I'm apparently very wrong.
I'm not good with names.
I'm terrible with looking up IMDb stuff. Okay, so Just Married, for the record, has a 5.5 rating on IMDb. I know we'll write letters to those people and correct their error of their rating. I'm sorry, Zoe.
Yeah.
She's first of all, she's mad at me because I don't know didn't know what this movie was. If you hadn't heard, I do remember this. I do remember this trailer. And it is a very young Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
From his punk days.
Super
Yes.
young. This was back in 2000. What did we say? 2002, 2003,
Yeah.
something like that. Okay, so why? Yeah, 2003. So why is this on your list of movies that you love?
You said movies that we love that we are slightly embarrassed by.
Yeah,
Do I look like a kind of guy that's into rom-coms?
not particularly.
I'm not. So
Okay.
when I first watched this movie, I died laughing. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm a big Brittany Murphy fan, and
yeah.
there's a scene in it where they're fighting, and she picks up this huge glass ashtray and throws it across the hotel room and cracks him right in the forehead. I rewound that and played it several times. I
can't.
love the movie's hilarious.
Zoe is shaking her head at you. For those of you, nobody can actually see what's going on in the studio right now, but Zoe is absolutely judging you.
Well, and I don't know, the castle that they get to go to, it's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
just-
well, they're in Europe, so
Yeah.
they just ruin everything.
Oh, jeez.
yeah.
So, Brittany Murphy, I in my brain, I had remembered that she had passed. So she died at 32 in 2009.
Yeah, and there was a big deal about that because the movie that she had filmed
Yeah.
during that time, it released with her on the cover in a bathtub.
Oh, jeez.
Like,
oh,
in
no.
an unalived situation.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, it was terrible. They had to fans were complaining.
They were upset for definitely for all the reasons. Yeah, she was an interesting actress. I think she was in Clueless, Girl Interrupted, 8 Mile. I mean, Girl was good. Girl had skills. Girl,
she was Luann in King of the Hill.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's makes me sad when we lose actors and actresses that young. Okay, so there it is. There's your movie for the next on the list. Yeah, almost. What do we call it? What the movie called again? Just Married with Ashton Kutcher and Brittany Murphy from 2003, which is 20 years ago. In case you're wondering how long ago that's been.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
Seems like yesterday.
Well, you might want to see somebody about that if that's happening in your memory banks. There's some people we need to talk to, and some medications we might want to take just to help ginkgo biloba or some other things.
What?
Ginkgo biloba. You've never heard of it?
No, I've never.
You've never heard of ginkgo? Okay, this is my turn to be righteously indignant. My turn. You got to yell at me. My turn. Ginkgo biloba was something that was advertised like a brain. It would help your brain. Like it was a supplement you would take, and it was like, oh, it'll stop Alzheimer's. It'll save you. It'll make your brain will be activated. And
Too many promises.
Well, it didn't do any of the things that were promised.
No, I'm sure it didn't.
But it was a big deal. Ginkgo biloba was the big deal. Like I'd say probably 20 years ago, or maybe more.
It's a fancy name.
It is. It was the thing. All right. So now that we've both accused each other of things. Zoe, we're even. We're even. Yeah, there is peace in our time. A truce has been established.
Except I was just about to pop off.
Oh God! What now?
Because my movie, the one I wanted to say, I can't even say.
Why?
No, I'm just kidding.
Say it. Be bold.
Mine would be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I have talked about already.
Okay, what's your second one?
My second one would probably be the original 1978 Halloween.
Okay. That's the original with Jamie Lee Curtis, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so why?
Why does it embarrass you?
So, like, people that, like, really know me know that I like horror, but, like, my other persona, like, my school persona, people see me as, like, glittery with butterflies, whatever.
Right.
Literally been told that. But that is not...
Yeah.
That's just kind of, like, what I put on as my, like, school counselor-ness.
Right.
You're bubbly.
Yeah, I am bubbly, but I do really love horror movies. I don't know, it's kind of like a way of focusing on someone else's pain instead of my own or whatever in the moment. Like I can kind of like relax my mind. I know that might sound weird.
Like when you go and watch movies, you go to theater, you pop into Netflix or whatever, you're not going to like dig in and study about the thing that you want to know. Like you're going in to get distracted.
Yeah.
I will freely admit the last couple of nights, because we have 3-day weekends here in our town with school districts. So we have 3 days of being able to relax and kind of get restored. And so what has been happening the last Friday and Saturday nights is I've been getting stuck in the YouTube algorithm of watching dry bar comedy.
Okay.
And I have been and because I need to laugh. Like there's life isn't easy. You gotta find stuff to laugh at. And so dry bar comedy has been my go-to. Like I have watched more dry bar comedy than I would probably be comfortable to admitting, because it's just so funny. And it's the same thing. Like you go in to watch these movies because you need to take a break. You need to put your brain in the resting pan and just mindlessly watch a scary movie, and just that's your go-to. That's what you do to process.
I enjoy being scared.
Yeah, I don't.
She's always trying to drag me to the theater to see the next one coming out, and I don't do horror movies in the theater.
I'm with you.
The last one I saw, I think, was like Unborn or...
Okay, well that sounds like a great movie. Just sign me up for that.
Jump scares all through it. I'm like, that's not for me.
Put me on the list.
Like,
let's do that.
I'll watch it at home.
Yeah, with the fast forward button. I was talking with. We were talking. So I have a group I'm a member of as a writer and a member and whatever. It's called Bravo Fleet. BravoFleet.com. It's a Star Trek fan club. We do a lot of writing competitions. Like a lot of cool activities we do there. So if you're interested out there in the world that listening to me right now, and you're interested in listening to. Or not listening to, but if you're interested in writing Star Trek or engaging in the Star Trek world through competitions and community, BravoFleet.com. Anyway, so we were talking on one of the rooms about how like people love scary movies. Like there are people on there who are like, I'm just like, And someone made the snarky comment like, and yet you love science fiction. And I was like, that's what the fast forward button is for. And I was completely serious, because I will do it. Like Jurassic Park, there were scenes where I had to put my hands.
Aaron,
I am not proud. Okay,
I can do that movie. It's not-
It's just scary. It's so scary.
The first few there did have some wild scenes that got me. And at the time too, when it first came out, there was nothing that looked like that. Like
yeah.
Oh, that's true.
So yeah, I don't like again, the fast forward button exists for a reason.
Or the mute button, because honestly, if you watch it without the music, it's not as scary.
Yeah, it's still scary to watch. No. I mean, you
It's really.
you're really trying to like patronize me almost. Like, just don't turn on. Just put the mute button. No, Zoe, it's not gonna be okay. It's gonna be the worst.
It's gonna be fine.
I'm gonna be scarred for life. And I'm gonna sign up for your therapy.
Okay. I get paid.
I see how this is working. I see your secret plan. I see the Machiavellian plotting on the other side of the table in the home studio. I see. I figured you out.
Jeez.
Okay,
But
so
it's unethical, so I can't really do that.
that's our disclaimer. We don't
Don't
actually,
try this at home.
Don't or ever or anywhere. You will be brought up on probably charges with the American psychological.
Dora will get you. That's
Yeah.
what they're called.
They're called Dora.
It's literally called Dora, the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Wow, that just rolled off your tongue, didn't it?
Because I have to say it a lot. Like literally just yesterday. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah. I gotta know my stuff.
You do, and I'm glad that you know your stuff so that I don't get myself in any trouble on this podcast by suggesting that you're doing something inappropriate, illegal, or unethical.
I'm just starting out, Aaron. Don't ruin it for me.
And don't ruin my hero story before it's even begun.
Yes.
On your second or third podcast as well.
I know.
That.
Dora's at the door upstairs. Doom, 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 doom. We're at the Department of Regulatory, whatever, Department of Regulatory what?
Agencies.
Agencies.
You
Because
almost
it's
had
not
it.
just therapists. It's like all like.
The SWAT team jumps down
Doctors
through
and
the ceiling. This is the Dora SWAT team. You're coming with us.
I heard Zoe was here.
I heard. We heard. We're aware of what she's saying. The NSA is connecting them up on the phone lines. It's a very dangerous organization.
Yes.
Psychologists everywhere live in fear of Dora.
We do.
It's.
We do.
They got really good uniforms though, and a great health package. So there's that. Okay, we have distracted ourselves from what we were supposed to be talking about, which
Yeah.
for me,
It's your turn.
gosh dang it. So we get. Actually, I'm proud of this. So, in Phil's defense, I have a unhealthy. I don't want to call it unhealthy, but I have an unwilling or unwavering love of romantic comedies.
Yes.
I love When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, Joe versus the Volcano, amazing stuff, and even the 16 Candles, Breakfast Club,
yes.
All of that.
Yeah, you lost me.
Pretty in Pink.
Now I'm beginning to get mad at you.
I'm not. That's why Just Married is that movie for me.
Oh.
Because
Today's podcast secret title is How to Make Zoe Angry.
I am literally, my body feels like it's on fire.
We've found all of her buttons and we've pushed them. There actually is a scene in the movie I'm talking about where he's in the elevator with something going to find the girl of his dreams, and there's this kid and he just pushes all the buttons in the elevator.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that's from Serendipity.
That's how I feel.
So maybe I have seen that movie.
You probably
you
have.
probably have.
So my movie is Serendipity with John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale. Now, John Cusack is a star of the romantic comedies. Say Anything, Better Off Dead, all of a lot of the early 80s comedies and romantic comedies was John Cusack. Gross Point Blank is one of the greatest movies of all time. If you haven't seen Gross Point Blank, you need to see Gross Point Blank.
All right.
It has Dan Aykroyd in it. It is.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's on something.
It's
probably.
on something. We'll
It's
find
somewhere. You'll find it. Anyway, so it's cool because Serendipity takes all of the romantic comedy tropes and kind of just mashes them together into one movie.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. I really like it. However, it's a close second. A close second to that is definitely Maybe, with Ryan Reynolds and whoever. I can't remember the girl who's in the movie with him. But it's a good movie. When I saw it, I was like, oh, this is going to dethrone Serendipity. But they're they're head to head. They're almost matched evenly. And the reason why it's one that I'm not proud. I can admit that I love romantic comedies. But when I do talk about it in front of people that are not familiar with me or who don't know me, they're like, oh, why are you going to watch a chick flick? And I just want to be like, you know what? I want you to sit down and write me a chick flick and see how good you can make it. Because
real.
there are some epic romantic comedies, and you don't call them chick flicks or romantic comedies. So sit down, shut up, and listen to my story. And then I just tell them all the things.
all the things.
All the things. So I have a serendipity, and that was in 2001, if you can believe it.
Really?
It's 22 years old, which makes me feel old. So we're even now, Phil. It's just really good. And I like John Cusack. I like his humor. And Kate Beckinsale is, of course, fantastic. Her Underworld movies are legit. Yes. I think it's like they made 3 of them.
They're awesome.
They are good. They are good, fun stuff. The last thing I'll say before we roll our intro for Nerds by Screenlight is, did you watch the Oscars where Jamie Lee Curtis won, or did you watch her acceptance speech?
No.
So in her acceptance speech, it's amazing. Okay. It's on YouTube. You'll find it. Jamie Lee Curtis acceptance speech, whatever. In her acceptance speech, it's amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful speech. But towards the end of it, she says thank you because she goes through and names people in her life. We just won an Oscar. We just won an Oscar. Yeah. And she said to the hundreds of thousands of you who have joined me in my journey of genre films over the last however many years and supported me in everything that we've done. We all just won an Oscar. And it was this moment of like, because she has done so many horror movies and so many genre movies, and I feel like people didn't take her seriously.
No.
And Jamie Lee Curtis is one of the greatest actresses of our time. The woman has an amazing, incredible sheet of films and characters that she's perfected and created.
Yes.
And for once, she finally got. And everything everywhere all at once. I need to sit down and watch because again, it's a lot of weirdness. It's a very weird movie, but it's not bad. It's just weird. So I'm gonna sit down with my fast forward because there's a lot of weird stuff. So I gotta be able to be. I don't want to see that. But her portrayal, I've seen clips of it. I'm just like, man.
I still want to see that so bad.
Girl's good at what she does.
Yes.
So again, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's been known for these genre films, but there's been an impressive actress in there. People have never acknowledged it, and so finally at the Oscars it got acknowledged. So I wanted to also speak to that because Jamie Lee Curtis is really, really amazing.
And over the years of Halloween, she has also grown her character. Like to see her be so young and then all the way like.
Yeah.
Being a grandma.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's come a long way, and she is deserving of that Oscar, and I can't wait to see what she does next. All right. Well, now that we've talked about all of our movies that we're ashamed of and not ashamed of, or just too proud to admit that we love them, we'll be back here in a moment. We're gonna tackle Star Wars. We're gonna see where these two stand on the Star Wars saga. Talk about what we've seen, what we haven't seen, and a bit more here on the return of Nerds by Screenlight. Here on Create at Morgan. We'll be back after this.
Get nerdy with me. Talk nerdy to me. Get nerdy with me. All I really need for you to do is just please.
I can stop.
Talk to me. Talk nerdy to me.
All right, welcome back to Nerds by Screenlight, episode 27. My name is Aaron.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Zoe.
And we're going to start talking about Star Wars, which is not at all divisive or controversial or debated amongst fans everywhere. So I've got a list here via Rotten Tomatoes, and it says in order to watch the movies, you have to watch these movies in order to get the thing. And so we're going to go through these, and which ones we've seen or not seen, we'll kind of talk about. So this, of course, means we have to talk about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
You don't sound happy about that.
Yeah.
So Phantom Menace was 1999. That's 24 years ago. It's a long time.
I was 8.
I was 16, 17.
I was like 6 or 7.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the old man of the podcast, apparently. I just need to get my walker and my cane to swing at people.
No.
Get off my lawn. So here's the thing about the Phantom Menace. Poor Jake Lloyd got the short end of the stick in this one.
That's who?
The kid who played Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, I heard it messed him up badly.
He got the short end. It was a hard thing for him to come out of that because when you're a kid like that, and being a child actor is rough. Like It has universally been accepted that being a child actor, unless it's really handled well by the adults in their world, it's pretty terrible. And unfortunately, Phantom Menace was George Lucas coming back and trying to like do Star Wars again and to make it relevant again and all those other things. And it was beautiful. If you go back and you watch that movie,
I love the movie.
Okay.
I'm ready for it. I know people hate the movie, and
I'm actually trying to like remember this one.
So Anakin, we find out Anakin, he's a pod racer. Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson go and find him because he's got the midi-chlorians, which again, why did we make midi-chlorians? But whatever.
Yeah.
George Lucas. Georgie, baby, why'd you do that? I don't know who you think you are. I mean, you're the creator of Star Wars, I guess, but what are you doing? I don't know where that accent came from, but that's
pretty good.
That's gonna be my critic, my guy who sits in the corner and has he's like a old guy in a chair, and he's Georgie, what are you doing? I don't understand this. I don't get it. That's my persona. When I need to be cranky with George Lucas, that's what I'll be. What are you doing, George? I don't know.
Start playing Italian mafia music behind
Yeah.
I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse, Georgie. Give me Star Wars. Or, there's going to be a horse. No, there's going to be Jar Jar Binks in your bed.
Why did you make Jar Jar?
Yeah, how dare you? What are you thinking, huh? Anyway, so we do get introduced to Jar Jar in Star Wars Episode 1, too. So here's the thing. And we'll talk about why you like it, because I'm sure there's reasons, and they're valid in your world.
Yeah, they're real to me.
And only to me.
That's all that matters, as long as I'm a real boy.
What is up with today?
I'm on fire, not
on
literally.
fire.
You don't need to call 911. Is that Sean? Is it who's called
911.
Shorty's on the burning on the dance floor.
There. Ooh, we're a little cringy today.
Oh man,
Cringe is the greatest. I can't come up with a C alliteration, but cringe is. I don't know. So we get introduced to Jar Jar. We get introduced to Jake Lloyd as Anakin. So it's the thing about it is that George Lucas tried so hard, and it's a lot of try hard here.
Yeah.
And it's also George Lucas for the first time had access to CGI that was functional.
Right.
Because when he did the original Star Wars, there was very little CGI. It was all models. It was all green screen. And then he didn't direct The Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. Those two movies were not his direction.
Oh, really?
He didn't direct those.
Maybe that's why I like them better.
Well, that's the thing is he directed A New Hope, and he directed A New Hope as a young, scrappy director who didn't have access to a lot of money. And so then he, through various reasons, he got Ivan Kirchner, who is an incredible director and storied career, to direct Empire Strikes Back. And Empire Strikes Back, a lot of times, and we'll talk about that in a second, ends up on people's top 10 lists. And then Return of the Jedi is just Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Ewoks, whatever. It was merchandising. Get over yourselves. So in Star Wars Episode 1, it was George Lucas getting access to CGI computers. And it was not good. And now, it looks beautiful for the time. But if you look at it through the lens of 2023,
It's not the same.
it's not. And it's hard because there's so many good performances in this movie, which now I'm going to switch over to Phil, who loved this movie and is chewing on his lips and ready to just spit fire.
Oh, I had a cookie in my mouth. Sorry.
He wasn't mad. He just had a cookie in his mouth. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have said this is the movie I'm embarrassed to love. Actually, now that I think
Apparently.
about it.
Yeah.
Because everyone hates it, and
Yeah.
I understand why. Because
Yeah.
I've heard the complaints so many times.
Yeah.
Mostly about Jar Jar
Yeah.
and the boy.
Yeah.
People could say he was bad or whatever. I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Remember, I was like 8 when it came out.
Right.
So
through
me,
your perspective, it was the greatest movie ever because it's you. It's
it
you
was
on
my
screen.
Star Wars.
Yeah, it's you on screen. Your 8-year-old self is
And,
portrayed.
Through the nostalgic lens,
Yeah.
it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I loved the underwater
Yeah,
thing
yeah, yeah.
when
Boss
with the
ass.
big fish.
Yeah.
There's always a bigger fish, and
Yeah.
I thought Darth Maul was so cool.
Oh, Darth
Yeah.
Maul is my favorite character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of disagreement about the fact that obviously Liam Neeson, his Qui-Gon Jinn gets taken out like a chump.
Yeah.
But there's also been talk about maybe that was a plan. Maybe Qui-Gon Jinn knew it was coming and knew that that Obi-Wan needed to be on his own. He needed to finally be the master, and that was. And there's been a lot of theory about Qui-Gon's plans and how Qui-Gon. There may have been some post-apocryphal like comics or some story fill-in that's happened with that. I can't say for certain, but there's a lot of layers in Star Wars. In case you haven't figured it out, layers that sometimes fans create or is also then put in. They retcon some stuff. I feel bad for the actor who played Jar Jar because Jar Jar wasn't the fault of the actor.
Right.
It was absolutely the fault of George Lucas. And George Lucas, there's a lot of people out there, and I often will say, like, this is where I sit or this is where I stand. Where I sit is where I'm still thinking. Where I stand, I'm taking a stand. I believe this full-heartedly. I am still sitting in the fact because a lot of people suggest that Jar Jar Binks' portrayal was racist. And suggested that it was very kind of like it was an in-joke on people who don't speak like there was that element to it. I don't know where I sit or I stand on that at this point. I just know that I'm like, okay, I acknowledge the conversation. I don't have an opinion yet. But there has been a lot of kind of angst about how that character was used and abused in the movies.
Yeah, he was put in as what was meant to be the comedy relief.
Yeah.
And he was really just a bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
there was no redeeming qualities for that character because he just was an idiot and you just dismissed him offhand
and then somehow he ends up joining the Senate.
Yeah.
Like,
How does that happen?
I think that was George Lucas trying to make it better, and that's kind of where we're going to head into. So Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. What? Aaron, you can't hate them all.
you can't hate the
I
whole
can
prequel
and I
trilogy.
will. My hate makes me strong on the dark side of the Force.
I believe I actually saw this one in like my sophomore high school class. She showed it to us.
Yeah. Is this the one where Anakin is like, the trouble with sand is it gets everywhere?
No, that's the third one.
That's the third one?
Now that one's the one that I'm not a fan of.
Okay. So Attack of the Clones, I think, here's the funny thing. So the original Star Wars Episode 1, Rotten Tomatoes gets a 52% overall rating, which makes sense. Half the people hated it, and half the people didn't like it. Half the people liked it. Star Wars Episode 2 is up to 65%, which for Rotten Tomatoes means it's sort of fresh. It's not dead on arrival. There's a lot of... So the thing about... Episode 2 is pretty good. Like it's definitely a step forward, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of what drives the Star Wars story, the prequels, is the political intrigue. Oh, the trade empire and all these mean, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's not that.
Oh, that's another thing that people hated about Phantom Menace also is because like the intro scroll comes on and it's like talking about taxes and trade and it's like, what is happening? Like I didn't realize this as a kid, you know. I was going too fast for me to read it anyway. So, but yeah, that valid complaint about that one. So
because you look back at the A New Hope, all those others, there was some politics in there, but it wasn't overwhelming.
Right.
It was a backstory. It was in the background. Things were happening, but your characters were on a personal journey to conquer and save and live and fight up against this empire that was killing everybody. And so the problem with, and again, Georgie, what were you thinking writing this? What were you doing? What are you know?
I'm walking here.
I'm trying. I'm watching a movie here, and this is not a movie. What are you doing? I can't do that accent for very long because my throat starts to hurt.
Breathe, Aaron.
I'm trying so very hard. The problem is that George Lucas's writing in the later years when we got the prequels, it got worse. He wrote a lot, but that was in his earlier days when he was younger and not as like. He didn't have. So I think what happened is he got all the technology. He was like, "Well, I can tell this great story that I always wanted to tell." It's like Georgie, you don't need to tell this story. You need to tell the character story, and don't need to have the trade empire on the main screen. Put him off screen. Get him out of there. But George doesn't listen to me, and he doesn't listen to that guy, so he didn't. But I would agree that Phil, that Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is one of the stronger entrance because we get to see Yoda in the ship,
and he's awesome in this movie.
Yeah, he's back. He's good at what he does. And of course now Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen, their characters fall in love. The mom is gonna, whatever, yada yada yada. Yeah. So that was Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Anything else on those before we move on?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Now I have not seen. Oh boy. So the next the TV series that they tell you they should watch is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. It is a 19% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Mechanical animation and less than stellar script makes The Clone Wars a pale shadow of George Lucas's once great franchise. So it didn't go well. Apparently, people tell us that people are saying so with Ahsoka. They show, spoiler alert, Anakin and Ahsoka, like their relationship continues, comes back. Hayden Christensen returns in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And there's talk of doing a live action Clone Wars with Hayden Christensen and everybody. And because of how good that looked and how good the engagement between those two, the actor and actress,
Right.
People were just like, that's what we needed, that's what we wanted, and you gave us this, we want that. So there's the possibility that we might get a live action Clone Wars.
Okay.
Which then leads us to Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Boo.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That's the one where Anakin finally becomes Vader.
But like,
And
I feel like
Anakin-
Anakin is misunderstood.
Anakin is the
Say that.
whiniest.
I'm just gonna say that.
He is in this movie. He is the whiniest.
Yes.
Complains about he is just a big baby, and
Yeah.
it's like, dude,
Yeah, put on your big boy pants, please, and your big boy Darth Vader costume.
you're put on your Vader stuff.
Yeah, let's do this. So yeah, episode 3, I hate it. Okay, that's a strong word. I dislike it.
Yeah, dislike.
So there's a scene where whatever Palpatine he is before he becomes the Emperor, it's him and Anakin in like an office or a room, and he's trying to poison Anakin's mind.
Right. Yeah.
And the way that the camera tracks that scene and how it goes, I remember distinctly watching that movie and going, what is this? What are you doing? And this was in 2005. So I had graduated high school and I was working. Yeah, okay. I know. It's rough. It's tough. I know. It's weird. So I remember watching it even like on a having a DVD of it. And I just was like, why would you shoot it this way?
Yeah.
It was the most awkward, cumbersome, dynamic. And I was like, this takes me out of the movie because I'm criticizing how you're filming a movie. Normally, I'm like, oh, okay, there was a reason for that shot. There's a reason for this. Okay, yeah, I'm suspending my disbelief.
Right.
Nope, couldn't do it for this one. I was just like, okay, we're done. And from there on out, I was out. I was done. I was like, okay, we're done here. This is bad. And so, topped off by the ending where he gets pulled off the table, he's like, no.
Yeah, there's some great lines.
There are.
I have the high ground, Anakin.
Yeah.
It's over.
And it wasn't. It's just, there's so many things and what's funny is that it's got a 79% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
I will say, even though it's one of my most disliked in the series,
Yeah.
I will watch any of these movies.
Oh, yeah.
I love them all.
I think
this one's just one of my. If it was on,
Right.
I would watch it, but I'm not going to go look
Right.
for it.
So to challenge your Anakin is just misunderstood, Anakin kills children.
Yeah, the younglings.
He kills the
They
younglings.
got the younglings.
He also force chokes his wife.
Yeah.
I must have blocked all this out.
It's at the end of the movie. It's the penultimate scene. He's jealous and force choking her. He's the reason she dies in birth, giving birth to her twins. So when people try and say, oh, well, Anakin, I'm like, no. The way that George Lucas wrote him, there is, and I know it was probably intentional because
Right.
you don't. Here's the thing, because what we knew of Darth Vader was everything from the original trilogies, episodes 4, 5, and 6, right?
Which
we
isn't
knew,
much.
Huh?
Which wasn't much.
Wasn't much. But here's the thing, you almost don't need to know.
Yeah.
Because you know he's a bad dude.
Yeah.
You could show him doing bad things. You didn't need 3 movies to do it, whatever. But you can. So I think the thing with that Lucas and everyone else was trying to do is, yeah, okay, he killed the younglings, he killed his wife. He's a bad man. But this is where it could have been emphasized better because we know what happens to Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. He is redeemed.
Yes.
He looks at his son Luke and says, "You were right. Tell your sister you were right." As God is my witness, that is, I still get a chill just thinking about that moment because we knew, even before the prequels, we knew that moment was powerful.
Yeah.
We knew the power of a father looking at his son and going, "You saved me. You have," and that is beautiful. That is beautiful, beautiful moment. Because the actor that portrays it and says those lines, and you watch as Luke drags his father's body onto the shuttle in a desperate attempt to get him out of this before it explodes. That's powerful.
Yeah.
There is no power in episode 3. No! Sit down, Darth. You dumb
and
idiot.
I'm pretty sure that's the one where he's whining about the sand.
Yeah.
I
Sand
hate
gets
sand.
everywhere.
It gets everywhere.
I'm
I'm
just
like, dude,
so, like,
you came
that
from
is-
Tatooine.
But that's me. I hate sand.
Are you identifying with Anakin right now?
Just a little bit. It does get everywhere.
There are red flags, and then there are red flags. This episode is raising all of them.
Well, I guess to really answer your question, my understanding is that he went to the dark side because he fell in love, and you weren't allowed to fall in love on the
That-
Jedi path.
That is now considered legend.
What?
Well, because since Disney bought Star Wars, they went and retconned a lot of things. So who knows? Maybe a Jedi can fall in love now.
But that could have been so much more artfully done.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Because when you let them be together, you let them, like, there's ways to show that tension and
Yeah.
to make it so that he is fighting to love her. He really, and he wants to try, and you could show him finding his way away from the dark side but still being pulled to the dark side. There are so many, and this was 2009 or 2005. We have a bevy of films in the archives of showing characters struggling with their darkness, struggling with the evil inside, and how to possibly battle that. And a lot of feelings.
A lot of feelings.
A lot of
You should have
feelings.
seen the look he just
Just like Georgie, baby. So much disappointment. How could you not listen to me all those years ago? He blocked him probably on all the social media.
You were blocked.
You're blocked. Suspended, reported. Okay, so then we have Star Wars The Bad Batch, which I have started to watch.
Have not seen.
I haven't seen that.
I've been told I need to watch more. I think I'm in season 1. I need to watch more. It's an interesting show. I really like it. It takes kind of the rough and tumble, the bad guys, and they're trying to do good and all this kinds of stuff.
From like the Commando Elite
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Oh,
So now we come to Solo, a Star Wars story.
Haven't seen that one either.
You haven't seen that one.
The only spinoff I think I know I've seen is Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Okay. Solo. So the story of, have you seen it?
No, I have not.
So Solo, the story is it's Han Solo's origin story.
Okay.
Which, if you really think, like, this is the thing about Disney and Star Wars as a whole. No one asked for this story.
Fair.
We knew who Solo was.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, it's been a lot of that in the last couple of years with a lot of companies. But with Solo, we knew who Han Solo was.
Yeah.
We knew the guy. We knew he was a rogue. We knew he was a trickster. We knew he couldn't be trusted. We knew he had a heart of gold inside him somewhere. But
Yeah.
we had that journey through the original Star Wars trilogy, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
We saw him in his element. We didn't need to see that origin. The other problem was that Solo, the original directors, got booted and fired, and then someone else took over.
That explains everything.
Yeah, Ron Howard took over, and it's a disappointment. There's a lot of logic that just like sails through plot holes, and you're just like, wait, why did that? Why would you? What is wrong with you? There's a lot of that in that movie. So it's the guy Alden Ehrenreich. He's a good Han Solo. He looks like him. There's moments where he plays. He does do the Han Solo thing.
Okay.
But he's not given enough room to do that with whoever was with Ron Howard's direction, which sounds a bit sacrilegious considering how Ron Howard is very prolific and good at his job.
Mm-hmm.
But Ron Howard, you didn't do your job here. Ron, baby, what were you doing? I
Get
don't
it
know what
together.
you get it together, man. Come on. Anyway,
There he goes coughing.
yeah, it's just
He's gonna regret this.
I
later.
know.
it's gonna
I'm gonna
hurt.
have no voice tomorrow.
I'm gonna be whispering in the darkness. Anyway, okay, so Obi-Wan Kenobi is, and you guys have seen Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
I
So
liked
I did too.
Yes.
And I liked it. There were a couple of moments where just like, okay, you're leaning really heavy. Like when he does the hello there towards the end.
Oh, he's got to do that.
And
He
does.
has to.
It's just it's one of those
Hello
things.
there.
But I like how they handled it because him and Vader fight again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where people are just like, oh, they can't do that because that negates this. Like, well, but does it?
Yeah.
Because both of them in their fight, they were equally matched.
Right.
And they're still Jedi Masters, both of them. And just because when like Vader says, I haven't heard that name in a long time, well, he hasn't, because a lot of years passed between Obi-Wan Kenobi and then Ben in New Hope.
Yeah.
Because we get Alec Guinness playing the role, and you still have Obi-Wan doing it. There's been a lot of push to give Obi-Wan Kenobi a second season. Here's the thing. I agree. Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely,
100%.
without question, he is. I think if Alec Guinness was alive today, and he was to sit down and watch Ewan McGregor play Obi-Wan, there's no question. The dude would be like, he's got it. Signed, sealed, delivered. Put me back in my grave and send me home.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need no more Frankenstein in this business. I'm ready to go back. Because Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor owns it, and there are a couple of moments like. Again, spoiler alert! Like him and Princess Leia are interacting, and when she's at a young age, she gets kidnapped and rescued, and so there's elements of that where, the princess doesn't acknowledge his existence as much as you would think. Obviously, in episodes 4, 5, and 6, so there's a bit of retconning that's happening. But I really like. I mean, so fair confession. I got to meet the actress who played Leia at FanFest.
I am jealous.
I got to got a picture taken with her. She signed a piece of original art that someone had done for her. Coolest kid in the world, like just adorable. Obviously, she's a child actor, so she's got a lot going on.
Well, yeah.
But it was just cool because I was like, you are Princess Leia. Like, thank you for portraying her and making her come alive again. And so like, you're the only Princess Leia we've got left. And
It's only you.
It's only you. You're it, kid. You got it. You got the role. Let's rock it. Anything on Obi-Wan Kenobi that you guys want to share?
I just thought it was awesome. I love the effects in it.
Yeah, they're very practical.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of. I mean, what CGI we saw is very well hidden or very well covered or looks real enough that it's not a big part of the show.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
And exactly, that's how it should be. Star Wars Rebels is next from 2014. I have not watched Star Wars Rebels. I've heard it's great. It's got a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, wow. Then I got to watch it now.
If you can believe it. The animated series entry in the Star Wars franchise fills the gaps between episodes 3 and episodes 4. So that's a big deal there. I need to watch it, and I have Disney Plus, so it's on the list. That might be my Thanksgiving, binging experience. Leading us next is Andor.
And
Have not seen it.
I have not seen that.
You need to watch it.
Okay.
It is worth your time. It's the story of Cassian Andor, who is in Rogue One, and it's a story of his formative years of the rebellion. I like it because it's a slow build, and it's not fan service, and it's done well enough that I was like, okay, this is interesting. It is a slow burn in the way that it does take its time, but the way that it tells a story is redeeming. It does earn its quality. It's good what it does.
Nice.
Which then leads us to Rogue One.
Rogue One.
How do we feel about Rogue One?
I have not seen. I have not seen Rogue One.
Zoe is.
I could have sworn we watched it together.
No. That's the one that's about the pilot, right?
No, it's about Jen Erso, who's like she's been signed up by the rebellion to basically deliver the plans and do these things. And
I haven't seen it.
it's the story of the Jedi, like the guy who's blind. He's like, I am the Force, and the Force is with me. I am the Force, and the Force is with me on the battlefield. I love this movie, but I hate this movie, and here's why. Great characters, great story, but we will never see them again.
Yeah.
Ever, because they all die.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. That's what Rogue One is about. All those characters die in the scene because the next scene in that show is episode 4 with Princess Leia getting the data that they pulled from where they were at.
So in
So
a
it's
way,
like-
what was the point?
It's like a Halo Reach situation.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the idea of the story, and I understand why, because you wanted a self-contained story that allowed you to kind of close it up, and it was the bridge between the old and the new. But it felt, you knew what was coming,
Right.
and it devalues the story because you know that they're going to live to see the end, but you know they're going to die in the end because that's how this works.
Yeah.
And that's the part that disappoints me is that they didn't give us a story that was like, yes, they are instrumental. Some of these guys died, but these guys got out, and they continued their own adventures parallel to the rebellion.
Right.
Because that would be an amazing story to follow because there's so much more to the rebellion than just what we got from episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Exactly.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the background. There's a lot of other planets. There's a lot of other things in motion.
Why do we got to kill them all?
And I think because they were probably afraid that it would leave an opening for a story to be told. But that's the thing is we want those stories to be told.
Exactly.
When you give us new characters that aren't our stable standards, we want to see those stories. We want to see those people. And yeah, it just disappoints me because the thing is, they went back and told Andor. So obviously the character's popular enough to earn another series or two, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot because it's sad because there's such interesting characters in that movie, and you're missing out, Phil. It's really good. It's quite good.
I'll check it out.
Okay, so now we come to the ones where we know and love.
Dun, dun, dun.
Episode 4, A New Hope.
Yeah, that started it.
Yeah, I think A New Hope, even in its perfection, is just fantastic. Like, I love A New Hope from start to finish. I know what's going to happen. I've seen the movie not 1,000 times, but a lot. I've seen this movie, but every time I watch it, I just sit back and go, "This is the best movie of all time." So great.
So it gave you that new hope.
He's Eric Foreman. Eric Foreman.
Yeah.
From that '70s show.
Yeah. It was just that good, and I love the story that's told. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens. There's like a deleted footage so he has his friend. I can't remember what his friend's name is now, but they meet up back at the base, and he's like, "Hey," well, but it's not Wedge. It's his friend from Tatooine, and he meets. There's a deleted scene where it gives you more of the background of their friendship and the fact that he does eventually die in the battle,
right? And
he doesn't get to see his friend anymore. I love the introductions of Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
I love every character gets an introduction that's brilliant and beautiful. Like, it's not spectacular. It's not, "Ooh, look at this person." It's like, "Hey, this is the next guy. Oh boy, here we go." What is your favorite moment from Star Wars Episode 4, The New Hope?
Oh, geez, I'd have to think back.
Me too. Like, it hurts my brain.
I'm more familiar with Return of the Jedi,
and that's just because we've seen it the most recent, honestly.
I think for me, my favorite shot is the shot of Luke, like at the aunt and uncle's homestead. The bodies have been burned, and he's staring at the two sons.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome shot.
And the contemplative, and Mark Hamill is a talented actor. Was a talented actor then, talented actor now. But you can just see in his face the emotions. But here's the beauty of it. A lot of what happens in that moment when you're watching him is you're internalizing everything you've seen and heard.
Right.
And you're carrying that. So the beauty of that moment in filmmaking is you come with Luke's or Mark Hamill's emotive look as he stares, and you process and imagine what's in his head. His aunt and uncle are dead. They've been murdered by the Imperial Army. He now has nothing left. There is no hope.
But there is a new hope.
There's a new hope. We're puntastic today. We're on fire. And in that moment, everything from writing to filmmaking to characterization pulls it together. Like it just effortlessly locked in, and you're just like, "Okay, let's do this, Luke. Let's go kick some Imperial butt.
Let's go.
Let's do this." You're mad with him, and he's mad, and so that moment of like, "Okay, we're doing this. I'm going. Let's go fight him."
This is also the one that's got the cantina, right?
Yep.
Okay. Who shot first?
Obviously Han.
Yeah.
Always Han.
Definitely.
Not
Always
Guido.
Han.
Not
Yeah.
Guido. Like,
Didn't they edit it later
Yeah.
on to make it to where Han did not?
the new edition, the new fangled fancy re-edited, and people were mad about that because here's the thing: Han Solo is a scoundrel, and him shooting first, it's a scoundrel
yeah.
move.
Well, yeah, it's fitting.
And it's like nobody had an issue with that before.
Right.
Like, hey, Han shoots first. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes because he's tricky. You can't trust him.
Yeah.
And he's going to take him care of himself before he worries about what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you better watch your back, Greedo. I'm going to take you down.
Is this also the one where they're like, "We are not who you're looking for"?
Yeah, these are not the droids you're looking for.
That's my favorite scene.
And it's...
That's in the Phantom. That's in Phantom Menace also.
Yep.
It's in a lot of them.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah.
Well, and that happens also in the so again the fan service piece, but it's cool because when you're watching A New Hope, your understanding of the Jedi's powers is limited. We are just learning as we go.
Right.
We're seeing it, we're getting an understanding of it, and it's like when he does that, "These are not the droids you are looking for." You're like, "What are you doing?" And then they're like, "These are not the droids we're looking for. You need to We're gonna go and look in here." And you're just like, "What?
Mind blown.
The power they have. This is crazy." And as that continues, as you learn more about the Jedi, and Obi-Wan tells more and more, and then the moment comes when Darth Vader and Obi-Wan meet each other once again.
Dun dun dun.
I love this scene because originally when we saw it without the Phantom Menace, without everything else, all we had was what the movie had told us so far.
Yeah.
So we're left to go, what? How did he know him? How does he know? How does he sense him? What is this thing going on? How does Vader know this? And then when he hits Obi-Wan and he disappears, your mind starts going, what is happening?
For real.
Where did Obi-Wan go? What is the Force? What's the deal here?
Yeah.
And it's magic.
And it's so funny looking back on it now because
Yeah.
it's like two grandpas fighting with their cane.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Like they didn't have all the wire work and stuff the newer ones do. So
But-
they're just like,
I remember watching that scene and being in awe.
yeah.
And I think here's the thing, the fact that we went back in the episodes 1, 2, and 3, and we then showed the cool.
Yeah.
It was a. I understand why. I get why, but you retconned and now have led to question like, okay, well then why didn't those fights happen like that before?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
Right.
very like if you do watch it in order, it's like, wait, what?
yeah,
why
we're
are
going.
they-
happening?
We're going backwards in skill level. The Jedi's are not
Yeah.
as good as they think. Like, so I think in some ways the disservice of the original of the new trilogy was you could have done those fights in a way that still honored what had been come before.
Yeah.
But it just felt like they were. Yeah, there's a lot of feelings there.
All the feelings.
So this this movie, I think does Luke kiss his sister in this movie?
He does.
He does. And here's the thing: I don't think they'd
They
established.
don't know.
They don't know, and I don't think George Lucas even knew. I don't think George Lucas
He
knew.
just came up with it later.
Yeah, he's just like, well, the movie's successful. Now we got to write. Oh, okay. Well, they're the twins. Oh,
That's
Oh.
pretty gross.
Oh,
man.
no.
oh, jeez. So then you get Empire Strikes Back, which I would argue, out of all the Star Wars movies we've had to deal with and/or suffer through in some cases, Empire Strikes Back is the best of all of them.
That's 6, right? Or 5?
Episode 5. Episode 5.
Okay. And is this the one where Luke goes into training?
Yes, this is where.
Yeah, I love this one.
It is really
where
good, yes.
Hoth,
Yeah.
and they're under siege and they're escaping, and the Empire really does strike back.
Right.
Han Solo ends up in a carbonite freeze.
Yeah.
They go to Cloud City. Darth Vader is there. Han Solo tries to shoot him.
Of course.
Yeah.
Always shooting people.
Yeah, that's his goal. That's his default.
goal.
That's his default setting. Shoot him up.
Boba Fett was in this one, I
Yep.
think.
Boba Fett.
Oh, Boba Fett.
Oh, for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. So there's a lot that's happening. Like we meet Lando Calrissian, we meet all of these people, and it's just, it is. I don't often use this to describe movies or shows or whatever, but it is beautiful from start to finish. You have the flirtation between Han Solo and Princess Leia, and you start to get the idea that okay, this might actually be a thing, but they're not. They're angry with each other, but they're
Yeah.
also like crushing on each other a little bit. And he's like she drives me crazy,
But I love her.
but I love her. It's just I don't know. Anything else from you guys on this one?
No, that's probably my favorite out of the original
Agreed.
trilogy.
That Hoth battle scene.
That was awesome. I loved I think this is where you got introduced to Yoda.
Yep.
And
Yoda.
he pulls the ship out of the
Yeah.
swamp.
Oh,
and it's like,
yes.
It is again. So this is. I know I talk about filmmaking a lot because that's my love. I love filmmaking. I love studying it. I love learning as much as I can about it. You think about up until this point how the Jedi's have been portrayed. Luke has learned a little bit. He can do some things, but you've never seen true Jedi master power.
Right.
So he crashes, and the introduction to Yoda, Yoda's like going through his things and like tossing stuff. And him and R2D2 go at it, and
yeah.
The best.
but yeah, that moment where he says, "I've tried, I can't get it out," and he just like.
That there
See
is-
how easy it
There
was,
is no
sir?
try, only do.
Yes.
There is no try, only do. Yes, trust in the Force, you will. There is another Skywalker, and then he disappears. I love that whole scene on Dagobah. I love all of
Yeah.
it. I love the interaction between him and Yoda, and I love Obi-Wan comes back from the dead.
Yes.
The ghost force is there.
It's got to come back.
And he says he's like, well, because he finds out that Anakin is his father, Darth Vader is his dad, and he says, you lied to me. And he says, well, from a certain point of view. And it's so powerful because it tells you that Obi-Wan's playing like 7th level chess. Like there is so much more to this story. I adore this movie from start to finish. You get to meet so many characters. There's heartbreak. There's you don't know if Han Solo is going to live outside of that carbonite.
Yeah.
You don't know what happens next. But what does happen next is Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
I love. Okay, tell me what your favorite. What is your favorite moment from Return of the Jedi?
God, it's got to be, no, I am your father.
Luke,
Of course. Epic
I am
scene.
your father. Yeah. Well, no, because doesn't he do that in in Empire Strikes Back though?
Oh no, you're right. Yeah.
Because he's in Cloud City and he's
So 6. That's when he gets his like redemption thing, and Luke's like, "I'm gonna save you."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
They have
yeah,
that
okay,
conversation
yeah.
in the elevator where he's like, "There's good in you, Father. I
Yeah.
know."
And
it's
he tries so hard.
And it's not, and you don't like look at it as like, "Oh, you're not going to win this." You actually,
You're hopeful.
You're hopeful.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke Skywalker just destroyed Jabba the Hutt. Like
Yeah.
this is one bad mama jama. Like he's got the business. Luke Skywalker is a Jedi Master. Like it's on Donkey Kong. Let's do this. And so and it's cool because he shows up to. What's interesting is that they talk about the changes in costume. Is Luke shows up to Jabba's palace in black. Do you remember that?
I do not.
He's dressed
Yeah.
in black.
Which is interesting.
That is interesting.
And then
Because Anakin only started wearing black
Right.
when he was turning to the dark side.
Yeah.
And so throughout Return of the Jedi, he's tempted by the Emperor. Come to the dark side, strike me down, and you'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine. And he's like, yes, feed your anger. I see it in you. And Luke,
I can't.
it's just it's like one of those moments of just like it's like that standoff at the OK Corral or at Tombstone, like you're just like the Emperor, this massive, force, powerful thing who has guards and like all this crazy, weird, dark stuff, and you have Luke Skywalker who is dressed in black, and I can't remember if in the end he like his shirt gets ripped off or he gets like the white gets exposed. Something happens where we do see some
I feel
white.
like you're right.
And that wasn't so that I've read through some of the stuff on that, and they're like, yeah, no, that was intentional because there was a battle inside Luke for the good and the dark side.
Of course.
And that moment where he rescues his father and he's able to turn his father to the good side of the Force, and that rip is that exposing the truce inside of both Luke and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker.
There is light in the darkness.
There is, and it's so I love the original trilogy. It'll have a place in my heart forever. I am a Star Trek guy, but Star Wars, those original trilogies will always be. Okay, let's hop, skip, and jump through the rest of this because a lot of this we haven't seen. I'm Mandalorian.
No.
Seen it. First and second seasons are okay. They're good. They're worth your time.
They are really worth my time.
Yes.
Okay.
Third season, I've heard terrible things.
Okay.
And I haven't had a chance to watch it, but the reviews I've watched and the stuff makes me sad.
I love the character. Like, I love all the bounty hunter guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The first season or two of Mandalorian is fantastic. I love it. The portrayal of the character is great. Book of Boba Fett.
Haven't seen it.
It didn't. I watched a little bit and it didn't hold my attention.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's
That's a
unfortunate.
shame because
Yeah.
Boba Fett is like fan favorite. Like
He is, but I think what they did is they took him in a direction of this is not what Boba Fett is supposed to do. Like, what do
Yeah.
you? And so there's people who love it, and that's great. And I'm just not one of them right now. A Star Wars Ashoka. I can't say the name right.
that's the new one.
Yep,
right?
that's the
No,
new one.
Haven't seen it.
And I've heard great things. I've heard good and not so great things. They said the viewership has dropped since its initial being watched, and what that tells me is first couple episodes might be great, and then it just kind
Drops
of
off.
drops
All,
off.
all I know is on Twitter, everyone was spamming that one shot of Anakin walking and
Yeah.
it flashing
Yeah.
between Anakin and Vader.
Yeah.
And then I was, I might want to check this
I
out.
think that, and that's where they're talking about the live action Clone Wars, that has inspired the idea to do that show because they want to see that. All right, let's hop, skip, and jump into the three most controversial movies of all time. That's a big thing, but The Force Awakens.
I like it.
I do too.
I do too.
I thought it was a good callback to the original trilogy.
Yeah, it works. The thing about this movie is, and this is going to probably have some people have some feels. Daisy Ridley's character, Daisy Riddle, Riddle.
Really?
Daisy.
Say
Ray. There we go. Ray as a character takes on Mary Sue qualities.
Yes.
Like she fixes the Millennium Falcon with magic. like not magic, but she like Han's like, how did you? Oh, I just did it, and it's like, oh child, and so that moment it spoils an otherwise really good film, because she could have innate piloting skills. There's a way that you can show that, but it's so heavy-handed and it's not done artfully, and this is where my anger with J.J. Abrams comes into play again, because he directed this thing. He then turned it over to The Last Jedi, to the man known as Rian Johnson. So anything else you want to say about The Force Awakens besides it's beautiful, it's great?
Okay,
Han
so I
Solo's-
have to point out something in
Okay.
The Force Awakens, because
Yep.
they totally ruin it later.
Okay.
And in The Force Awakens, they make it seem like you don't have to be this special person
Yeah.
to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
You could just be like an
Later
everyday
on,
person.
they ruin that.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of feelings there, but no, like Force Awakens, I don't want to say that it's harmless, because it isn't harmless, but it's good. It's a good start. It hits the right notes. It sets us up for some really interesting conversations. But it does, yeah. Rey's character is sold as, well, you're a nobody. Your parents left you here.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool. As long as that stays, great.
We're fine.
We'll lean into it. We'll figure it
That
out.
final shot too of the kid looking up at the stars as they're
Yeah.
going away, kind of like foreshadows also
Yeah.
that idea.
Yeah. And that's great. I'm all for it. However, in 2017, Star Wars The Last Jedi takes that.
Is this the alien milk one?
Yes, this is where
Yeah.
So at the end of The Force Awakens, they find out where Luke is. They use a map. R2-D2 puts the map together, and Rey goes and finds him. And the closing shot of The Force Awakens is her holding out his lightsaber that she got from that crazy lady who had all the things, holding it out to him, and the camera just turns around, and then dun, 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 dun.
Great reveal.
Yeah, we'll get to see the next. We'll get to see it next. And in this, you cannot make this up, because we've all seen it. The Last Jedi opens up with her handing it to him. He takes it and throws
Throws it off
it.
the cliff.
We waited this whole time.
Yeah, we waited how
Jeez, dude.
we went 2 years going plotting and thinking, okay,
What's happening?
What's going to happen? What's the next
Yeah.
scene? And then it's Luke just going, "Bleh."
He's like, no. He wasn't having it.
But I mean, it's like a low-key Luke move. I kind of feel.
No, absolutely not. Don't even. There is no equivalency here, ma'am. Remember how we talked about Luke having that black outfit and then having it reveal his goodness? The Luke Skywalker, and people are going to say, well, characters have to evolve. This is a character devolvement. This is you taking a character who had an incredible arc, an incredible journey, an incredible, like, stick the landing. Okay, you've redeemed your father, you've redeemed your bloodline, you've successfully pushed back the Empire, you've saved the universe with your friends as a team. Yeah, great. All these years later, where are you? You're a hermit in a far-flung galaxy, pouting like a 3-year-old
Far, far
because
Because of Mr. Kylo, little baby
because
face.
yeah, and so this movie also cranks me the wrong, like, it burns my bagels, to borrow a friend's one of my
Nothing worse than a burnt bagel.
So one of my friends from high school, that was her thing. That really burns my bagels. And I laughed at it first. I was like, actually, I like that. So it really burns my bagels. Is they play with us, because what they show us is that Luke Skywalker was going to kill Kylo Ren, and they're like, they lean into that, but then they show us later. No, he put his lightsaber away and was walking away, and Kylo turned and and that was it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And so it was like, no, you don't. Number one, but number two, if you were a Jedi Master and you suspect that your Padawan might be a little evil, you don't like sneak up on him and kill him. You sit him down and you talk to him.
Younglings, man.
Yeah.
Communication.
Communication. Because that's, I mean, do you remember the scenes in the Jedi Council where little old Anakin and Jake Lloyd is standing in front of all of them and like, we sense much darkness in him. You shall not train him.
Yeah.
No, you can't do this. No. And there was a debate. There was a conversation. That's how things should be done. But then to have Luke it was a poor writing choice because it was cheap. Like we were like, that's not how Luke would do things. Are you kidding me? And then they drew it out to the point when they showed that he didn't. He was putting his lightsaber away, and then Kylo Ren woke up and it was dumb. And then Luke giving up and just like surrendering to his darkness and his sadness and like I know that like Mark Hamill made statements early on that he then walked back on. There's YouTube videos of this where he kind of was like, "Yeah, I just really, really like it," and then it was that I've caught the internet. Everyone seized on it, and then he was like, "No, I didn't mean those things. That was a great movie. It's great. My character." I'm like, Mark, I love you, baby. Mark, I love you, baby. But you're not doing this right. We know the truth, man. We've seen the movies. We've seen the interviews. We know who you really are. We know what's going on.
There it is.
Dang it.
And he keeps doing it.
I do because I like it.
Yeah.
It feels good. It gets my anger out. This is my therapy. Therapy. This podcast is my therapy. My Star Wars therapy. So it's just a mess. We get Snoke.
Yeah. They showed him in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And I thought he looked really cool. And I'm like, who's this? And then what was it? The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
They kill him in that
Yep,
one?
they do.
With no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. all that Kylo Ren does is he uses his force power to turn the lightsaber on and pull it through Snoke,
Yep.
cutting him in half.
It's very anticlimactic.
And it's like
I would agree
the
with
fights
that.
with the stormtroopers or
the guards.
Yeah.
There's YouTube videos where they didn't even rehearse it. Like they're hitting nothing.
They're just going for it.
It's just this clunky background, not even choreographed well. And so what people talk about is that so J.J. Abrams set up Rian Johnson with an incredible possibility. Like, here's the story we're going to tell. Let's go. And Rian Johnson took it, totally switched it around, and gave us just an abomination. And I don't use that word lightly with this movie, but it is absolutely. I mean, Luke Skywalker dies. I think Princess Leia doesn't die in this movie. She dies in the next movie.
And really dies.
Yeah.
And really, yes, Carrie Fisher, we of course lost.
Rest in peace.
Is this the movie where they have the escape plan where they're trying to escape from the Imperial Army with all the people and the refugees on the ship, and there's a fuel issue, and then there's like the Poe is trying to like save people, and they're like shutting him down and not telling him about things, and then he tries to
I think so.
Is this
Because they brought Poe in a lot more in the second one, so that must be it.
And then there's like this whole argument about he's a mutineer and they arrest him, and then but it's the most clunky scene writing and just character writing because it's a joke. There's never been a fuel issue in Star Wars. Ever.
But now there is.
But now there's a problem with fuel. We don't have enough, or we're running out, and we're not able to go any faster because we don't have any hyperdrive. Like, what?
Make it make sense.
It doesn't at all. And so we have that, and then like the general lady, she's like, "Oh well, I'll save you all. I'll take the ship and go into hyperspace and destroy all the enemy ships." Why hasn't this been done before? This is a new maneuver. It's a beautiful shot because when it happens, the lighting and how they do it, it's beautiful looking. It's a terrifying, beautiful nightmare. But it's also like. When you think about it, you're like, well, then why hasn't this happened before? Well, they could just make a ship and wire it up with robotic controls and have it do that.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. And then Luke Skywalker burns the temple books.
He does.
And Yoda shows up, and I just
breaks my heart a little bit.
Yeah, it's. Over, Is there any redeeming moments in this movie that we can think of?
The visuals are great.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, the visuals are good.
Yeah, they do. There is.
Kylo Ren is beautiful.
Of course he is.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Is this the one where like him and Rey are like talking, and he's like shirtless? And
Yeah,
she's
they're like somewhat flirting.
But wait, I thought that
mentally.
was the last one.
That may have been the last one. Where
No, they do it all through too, and the last one.
So yeah, The Last Jedi is just it's really rough, and it makes me sad. So we're not going to talk about it anymore because I'm done with it.
He's done.
So they brought J.J. Abrams back in 2019 to fix what Rian Johnson started. Now, they will deny this, and they've denied it in interviews. But you look at what he did in Rise of Skywalker to fix everything that Rian Johnson broke. The only solution they could come up with, which I get it, is they brought back the Emperor.
Of course they did.
Which ruined Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then because then they said
now she's not a nobody anymore.
Yeah,
now
she's a Palpatine.
Right.
Now she's a Palpatine. And blah, blah, they gotta have that whole
That
I
one
am
did
your
throw me a
father
little bit.
moment.
Yeah. Well, and it's we've already talked about it, but you can have it like you said. It was cool to find out. Wait, a character can become a Jedi if they come from nowhere.
Yeah.
A nobody from nowhere has the power and potential to develop into a Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of cool. That's the Harry Potter Muggle versus whatever. Like, okay, there's a way for it to happen. It's a mess, and it doesn't end well. Oh, who are you? I'm a Skywalker. Oh, shut up.
Oh, Aaron.
You are not a Skywalker. You are.
My mind went.
Okay, but here's the thing.
I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it.
Here's how J.J. Abrams operates. He subverts expectations. So Star Trek Into Darkness, which I have talked at length on this podcast about, you can go find it. It's not too far in the past. Into Darkness, it was, it's not Khan, it's John Harrison. It's other guy. Benedict Cumberbatch is not playing Khan. No, he's not. It's he was playing Khan
The whole
time. You don't need to disguise it.
Right.
You couldn't find any other story to tell except for Star Trek Wrath of Khan done in your own little subverting the expectations way. So J.J. Abrams in his classic, incredible director-ish, has done some good stuff. But Lost was the same story. Lost started out strong.
Ooh, don't even.
And then it went down the drain. And they ended up, I don't even know how it ended, and I don't even want to think about how it happened. But
it's not a good ending.
It's not a good ending. Okay. I think I remember like glimpses of that.
Because there's a lot of seasons.
Yes, there is.
And yeah, it ends bad.
Well, it's similar to The Walking Dead. It's a struggle of like making sure that you tell a comprehensive story.
Yeah. Like
you look at Justified, that television show with Timothy Olyphant. It's an amazing show, and from start to finish, it tells a comprehensive story. If it's a director or writer or whatever, if you can do that, great. In my opinion, J.J. Abrams hasn't proven they can do any of that very well for extended periods of time. And this is evidence. The reason why I don't like the ending with I'm a Skywalker, they didn't earn that.
They didn't earn it.
That wasn't earned. You spent 2 movies telling us she was a nobody.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, in the 3rd movie, in the bottom of the 9th,
Yep.
you've got
surprise.
You've got MacGuffin Jr. at the plate, ready to hit a home run with a ball that's going to be tossed at 20 miles an hour, so there's no chance you can miss it. And this is what you give us?
I blame Matt Pat on over at Film Theory on YouTube.
Okay.
He makes theories on video games and
Yeah.
movies, and around that time he put out before the movie came out. He put out a theory on whose raised parents were.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, no, we don't need to know this.
Yeah. What was his theory?
I don't remember.
Obviously, it wasn't noteworthy.
Obviously, it wasn't important.
I don't remember at the time. But
Yeah.
Well, I would have never thought Skywalker. No.
Knowing Matt Pat, he came up with something insane.
Probably even crazier. Yeah.
It's just like my thing about movies and shows and stuff, you have to earn those moments. You think back to the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6. Most, if not all of those moments in those movies, they earned. They earned the scene at the end of Return of the Jedi with Darth Vader being electrocuted by Emperor Palpatine and Vader picking him up, picking up a Jedi Master, an Emperor of the Imperial forces, and throwing him down into the depths. They earned that because you knew that Vader had been struggling and starting to learn about his son. His son was still alive. His daughter is still alive. It was that moment of, yes! The I'm a Skywalker was not a yes. It was like a, huh? If you ever watched like Home Improvement, the Tim Allen ruh-roh, Reggie, what is this? Who wrote this? His name is J.J. Abrams. Oh, I know him. He does. Keep away from my movies. Whoa.
Oh, no.
Sorry. At least I could do like the, oh, hey, boo-boo. Don't let him come to my movie either. Okay, so they let him near mine, though. Stupid. So it's hard to be happy with this. And I know, okay, so I've totally just like thrown down on your I'm a Skywalker moment. You were clearly upset. I want to Do you feel it's earned? I mean, I know I've said it's not earned, but you can feel it's earned. Or was it just like that was that moment of like, hey, we ended with this?
I thought it was a good ending.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Okay.
So, like, I'm not disregarding what you're saying, but I did think it was a good, like, full circle, maybe moment.
Within the hastily constructed skeleton of a plot that they had made through the 3 movies.
Right.
It is like that scene in It's Always Hot in Philadelphia or whatever, where it's like the conspiracy connections.
Right,
It's like Skywalker, raise a Skywalker, but a Palpatine, and now... She's nothing. She's nobody. It would have been so much more. But think about that for a second. If they had allowed that line to go, that would have been a more powerful scene.
Yeah.
Because what if her meeting Skywalker had gone differently?
Yeah.
If her handing that lightsaber to him and he says, "Welcome home, Rey. You're home. Come, let's begin your training." And that's where you begin to see the training, and she learns like he did in Dagobah. She struggles. She's not as good as she thought she was because she's dealing with Luke Skywalker, and towards as she struggles and she learns, and he has her construct all those houses that are already built. So he's like, hey, we need to help these animals who live here. I have been trying, but you can now help me, and we can take the long road. And she's like, but I've got to get back. He's like, no, a Jedi takes the time. I made the mistake of running away from my training, Rey. You must complete your training. You will be greater than all of us. But first, you must learn in the ways of the Force. The power in that, she sticks around, and then the Millennium Falcon shows up and says, hey, or I think it was already there, they got a message. Hey, we need you. We have an emergency.
Yeah.
The Empire is at the gates. And Luke's like, okay, your training will continue, but I'm coming with you. Let's go. They get in the Millennium Falcon. Luke's sitting in the seat, like Rey in the other, and they're flying home. And he reunites with Han Solo because Han Solo didn't die. Shouldn't have died in the first place.
Agreed.
And like that moment of, hey Han, hey kid, how you doing? Like, can you imagine that moment? Luke Skywalker and Han Solo back together, and like they land really like they land in the back of the whatever, and they almost crash. And Han's like, he comes out and he's like, who's flying that ship? And Luke kind of just skips out and says, hey Han. He's like, hey kid, you can't fly for crap. Yeah, never could really. I could fly fast, but couldn't fly straight. Like just that moment, and like just like that cool. And you're like, well, we got something going on. He's like, always is, isn't there? Yeah, just like old times. And he's like, hey, got your lightsaber back? He's like, yeah, kid helped me. He's like, yeah, she's pretty good. Yeah, she's all right. She's getting there. Let's go see what we got to do. And they go in and they look at what's happening. They're like, okay, we got AT-ATs out there. We got this guy, Kylo Ren. He's coming for us. And Luke's like, okay, we got to play. Like, they would then plan the escape. Okay, Luke's going to go out there, and he is going to go toe-to-toe with Kylo Ren. But what we're going to do is we're going to rescue him out of there with, like, the Millennium Falcon at the last second. We're going to do all this stuff. Da, 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 da. And so Luke goes out there all alone, like he originally did, except he's not a hologram. And he goes out there, and like they shoot at him, and he's able to block it with his lightsaber because he's a Jedi Master, Mother Pearl. I'm so angry.
I can tell.
But just imagine that moment in the theater watching Luke Skywalker go toe-to-toe with an AT-AT. And Kylo Ren going, kill him! And then Luke, is able to block the blasts or whatever. Something happens where he uses the Force power. And he crunches all of the weapons. Like, shunk! They've crunched our weapons, sir. What? All of them? Every last one. None of us can fire. And so then Kylo Ren jumps out and is like, who are you? And he's like, oh, who do you think you are? And he goes, and then he finally gets a vision, and Luke takes off the mask or whatever, and he says, hello, Padawan.
Yeah.
Like, boom! And then Rey's just like, I thought you were dead. Like, all this kinds of stuff. And then somehow the Millennium Falcon scoops him up, and they get out and they escape. And they leave the Empire with trying to figure out how to chase it. Like, now you got a movie. Okay, the Empire.
I think you just wrote it.
I think I just wrote it.
Aaron's retcon version.
I would watch that. I would watch the heck out of that. I want to see what happens next. Or is Kylo going to take off on his personal ship and chase him down? Or are they going to have to go hide at a little? What's going to happen next? It's so unpredictable. I don't know what's going to happen because it's all crazy.
I will say I love that scene where they're the infighting because the visuals, the white versus the crimson. When they're moving across the ground and stuff that looks so cool.
Oh, the visuals are incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what do you do with the visuals? They're just there to be pretty.
Yeah.
Never mind.
My eyes were very happy.
Never mind the whole So there's like the battering ram laser is like cutting a hole in the thing.
Yeah.
And like one of the characters is gonna like throw himself into the thing to like stop it from getting there, and then like the other character stops him, and I'm just like, why don't you just get a like remote control ship and fly it in there in the first place? This is the future. You can do things.
Send your little droid in there to do it for
Right.
you.
Give me sacrifice R2D2. Do that. Like, no. Okay. Yeah. I think
Not R2.
I think I pushed the final button for Zoe. She's like, that's it. We quit. We out.
Killing my robots.
Don't kill the robots. But like, you could like literally figure out a different way. Because then, okay, hey, they stopped us from getting in there. Now we've got to get on the now we've got to get on the ground, or now we've got to get out of our ships. Like, there's so many different things you could have done, so many different plot points and directions that you could have taken that story, and this is what you chose. That was the best you got in a multi-billion-dollar company with some of the allegedly best writers in the business. That's what you gave us. I'm a
Aaron is
Skywalker.
disappointed.
No, you're not. You're nobody, Ray.
Oh, poor Ray.
Get back on your ship and save the galaxy, please.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've talked about Star Wars enough now.
I think we did.
We did a good job.
we did good. We get a gold star. I'm a real boy. That's my favorite.
I'm a real boy.
That's my favorite thing. Well, there's also Mickey Mouse. It's like, hello, guys. I have a lot of voices I can
I
use.
can tell.
I don't.
He just pulls them out.
There we go. So I think the current state of Star Wars is an interesting position because they're trying to make new stuff.
Okay, that was going to actually be my next question to
Yeah.
you. Is like, are there going to be any more movies or like?
So
what's going on?
that's what's going on with Ashoka is people are like just grabbing on to that scene where Anakin and her are reunited in the past
Right.
in the Clone Wars. And people are like, so Hayden Christensen got a lot of junk, got a lot of crap when the new trilogies were released.
Yeah.
And people really, really took a dump on him. I remember Hayden Christensen from a little movie called Life as a House. He was incredible in that film.
I love that movie.
And it is absolutely one of my most, I think people underrate that movie all the time.
100%.
It is an absolute brilliant film. And I wish I need to watch it again. That might be something we can do for one of the next episodes
Yes.
is come back and talk about Life as a House.
Yes.
There's also like, there's Life as a House. There's also, it's Topher Grace, Salisbury Hill. Is that the movie? Hold on. Hold the phone. But there's so many like those but Hayden Christensen in Life as a House is incredible. I'm not gonna worry about the other one. Life as a House. Yeah, 2001.
I know.
So it was Kevin Kline, Hayden Christensen, Kristen Scott Thomas. Oh, Jenna Malone. Jenna Malone was in that movie. Mary Steenburgen. Life as a House is a great, great movie.
It is.
Back in 2001. Okay, so we'll do that. All right. So with a show, I think there's possibilities for more movies. The thing about it is if they seize on the Marvel formula, they're going to burn us all out because people are burned out on Marvel movies right now.
100%.
And
I was burnt out on Marvel movies before the Avengers.
Yeah, it's become a situation where it's not tenable. But yeah, we'll explore the Life as a House next week, or we'll probably just do Life as a House.
I'm down.
I like that, and we can talk about that, and we can talk about. I think we can even talk about Hayden Christensen. So Hayden Christensen, sorry, let me close that loop. So Hayden Christensen, his re-entry into Star Wars happened about, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. There's you'll Google it, but Hayden Christensen at D23 or at Disney whatever the celebration.
Yeah.
The moment of him stepping back on stage is the moment him coming back into Star Wars. He had never come back to a Disney convention. He had never. I mean, I don't think he's gone to any conventions or whatever. He just had not been recognized again.
Yeah.
Because again, he got people dumped on him for his roles in the Star Wars universe. Like they, and my personal opinion, I don't think it's his fault. He's a capable actor, and he has proven that time and time again. It's the direction and the story that he got saddled with that really made the difference. That made it what it was, and how people didn't like it.
Yeah.
But his moment where he is on stage at that Disney celebration, someone shouts out, "We love you, Hayden," and the crowd just explodes, and you can see Hayden just like kind of go, it impacts him because I'm sure I think he's talked about his struggles with it. I mean, Jake Lloyd was the same story. He struggled with it as well. And so it was really cool just to see him kind of come full circle and to get that moment of, you are worthy, Hayden, and we like you. And his rebirth in Obi-Wan, his insertion into Ahsoka, like, he's back, and it's kind of cool. And I'm kind of interested to see how they do it, and God help us if they don't do it wrong, if they don't do it right. I really want them to see if they're going to make this Clone Wars TV series or movie, let's do it right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it the right way. Let's make this a good movie. Let's make this strong content.
Yeah, and we forgive you for Revenge of the Sith.
Yes, because here's the thing. I say this lightly, but I also say it seriously. Good writing and good directing makes a difference in an actor's life. If you have a terrible script and you have a terrible director who can't act or can't direct their way out of a paper bag, or a couple of paper bags, whatever, you've got a recipe for disaster. Like, you could have an Academy Award-winning actor or actress in a role and have a terrible script and a terrible director and terrible people around them giving them terrible advice on how to portray the role. I mean, Halle Berry and Catwoman. Hi, how you doing? Like, that's your own. That's evidence enough.
Right.
Because Halle Berry is an incredible actress.
She is.
She is like her. She is heavyweight level of actress, and she's the best, one of the best of the best, and that's evidence of it wasn't Halle Berry's fault. That was a director and writing decision, and somebody in the studio thought it was a good idea. No, it wasn't.
It's not.
And that's the thing, is that you got to remember the property you're dealing with. Star Wars is a heavy weight, and you got to know how to put that thing in the ring, put the gloves on, and go toe to toe with it so it comes out well enough that it's going to be a good show. So, all right, any last Star Wars thoughts before we sign off for the after evening noon?
Gamers, check out Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
It is an amazing game.
1 and 2.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. All right, well, my name is Aaron,
I'm Phil.
And I'm Zoe.
and this has been the much ballyhooed and vaunted return of Nerds by Screenlight. We will see you probably next week. We'll probably be back doing this once a week. If you have anything you want to share with us, you know the email, adelayedteacher@gmail.com. Good and the bad. The bad will just go in the delete file. Just kidding. I'll read it. The good will get read online. Get read online.
On air.
Read on air. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. We'll see you in the next one.
Good night.
Bye.
Goodbye.
The raspberry flap of ours will be out in a moment. The kitchen is closed.
You've been listening to the Nerds by Screenlight podcast, presented by Create at Morgan Productions, located in Fort Morgan, Colorado, USA. For more information on our production house, other podcasts hosted here, and further details, please visit www.createatmorgan.org. You can find us on Twitter at the handle CreateAtMorgan. Create at Morgan is a school club at Lincoln High School, our alternative education campus in Morgan County. Our sponsor is Aaron DeLay, the language arts teacher at Lincoln. Send any feedback to adelayedteacher@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to our podcast.